Oh my god, that's so cute.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the interview. Today is a special day. I'm excited. I got an old student of mine, a
Yeah.
good friend, Thalia Sanchez. Thanks for coming by the studio. Appreciate you.
Thank you for inviting as well.
I'm gonna tell you why today is a special day because so far I've been doing this interview show. I can't even tell you how long I've been doing it. This particular show, and you are the first person of Hispanic descent that I've actually had on the show.
Oh,
So
no way.
I'm
Yeah.
happy that you are here, right?
I'm here representing the
That's
Latinos.
right. That's right. And when I really thought about that, I said, "Oh, okay, I got to have her on the show because
Yeah.
it makes sense. It makes sense, right? I want to have more representation,
Yes.
and I love what you've been doing. I've been watching
Thank
you
you.
via social media. I haven't seen you in a long time,
I
so
know.
right. But I've
Counting
been
15
watching.
years or more.
Right. It could be. I don't even know how.
I
Oh, how
know.
old am I right now? I don't. Who knows? Right? How old are we? So, I'm like I said, I'm just happy you're here. Thank you so much. I know what you do, but I like for people to introduce themselves. So, if you don't mind, tell the people who you are, where you from, and what you do.
So, my name is Thalia Sanchez. I am from La Bella Vida Inc. I am a tattoo artist who likes to paint and travel the world. I do have a dog named Canela, which I personally love a lot. And honestly, like tattooing has shown me so much about people, myself, and being creative. That's who I am.
Now, see, I remember you when you were in high school and you used to draw,
Yes. Yeah.
and which is crazy because I guess it all comes full circle. It makes so much
Yes.
sense when I see what you're doing. I'm like,
Yeah.
this makes sense. Like, why wouldn't she do this? She was an
Oh,
incredible artist before, so that goes a little bit into your childhood, right? So let's talk
yes.
about that. How was it? What was it like for you growing up?
Honestly, I would be traveling a lot. My parents were always like moving to different homes, so we would move around a lot from different schools, cities, even out of the state and stuff. So art is something that I kept taking everywhere I go. So that was my
Mm.
way of like self-discovering, self-expressing, and I started kind of like creating my own world in my own self. So if you do see my paintings, that's a self-reflection of myself, I would say. Especially seeing the paintings and drawings I did when I was like in middle school, elementary to high school to college to now, I see my whole journey. So it's so cool. It's like a time traveling art display. But that helped me a lot to cope with like the whole movement and everything. It teaches you a lot as well, like from people from, LA to like Tennessee to, the whole like how people live and everything. So that taught me a lot about self discovering through painting.
Kobe Bryant talks about how he moved a lot when he was younger, and all he had was that basketball.
Yeah.
That's what made him
Him.
him, right?
Yeah.
So when you
That's
telling me that, I'm right, right. There you go, right? He's the
yeah.
GOAT. So here we go. Same story. All you had was your drawing and your talent. And you were doing this, like I said, I remember you in high school and
Mhm.
you were just
Drawing away.
drawing away, right?
Yeah.
So did you know this something you want to do, or did you just kind of just fall into it?
No, actually, it was in ninth grade. Ninth
Mm.
grade, I had a homegirl who gave me a tattoo magazine and stuff, and I started drawing everything from there. And I didn't care what people thought about, because every time I would say I'm gonna be a tattoo artist, because I didn't know that was a job.
Right.
Everybody was trying to tell you, do you want to be a nurse?
Right.
Do
You
you want
go
to
to
be a
college. Right.
doctor?
Right.
You
It
go to
makes sense.
college, and I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just honestly like creating my own world all the time. That when I saw that tattooing was a self-discovering artistic where people wanted you to put your art on them, I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. And I had tunnel vision. I would tell people like teachers and stuff, and they would always try to tell me like, oh, you should do Disney or, illustration from that. But I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Like,
Because you had exceptional grades as well, right?
yeah,
You were a good student.
I
I
was a
remember
hella
this.
good student, so they could let me fucking draw
Right.
and make stuff in there. But that's how like I knew what I wanted to do. It was in ninth grade, and I'd never sidetracked from that. Everything I did was just to sharpen my craft.
So you talked about moving around a little bit in your childhood, right?
Yes.
Was Why was that? Was your father or mother in the military? What was the
Oh,
reason for all the movement?
well, we were always trying to get like a better home, a better place, and
Hmm.
stuff. And like things happen in life where you're sometimes in an apartment to a house and an apartment again. So we always had up and downs. We were a big family, so I
Talk about
totally
it. How
understand.
many
Oh,
how many
too
siblings?
many. My parents only didn't have TV. Not just kidding.
Right.
It was 7 people, 7 siblings we have and stuff. So
Wow.
we traveled. My dad was the only breadwinner at the time.
Hmm.
My mom was a housewife, so
Hmm.
she would take care of us and we would clean and stuff. So sometimes life was tough. We didn't have everything, but we had the basic stuff.
Hmm.
So sometimes we had to move because we had need bigger space, or sometimes like we were able to rent a house, and then sometimes we had to go back to the apartments, and get squished in there.
It's 70 y'all. So are
Yeah.
you the oldest, middle? What is that?
I'm the second oldest. Pretty
Okay.
much a second mom since day one,
Right,
but
right.
it taught me a lot. A lot, a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine. I have a good friend, Jackie. And she come from a traditional Mexican family, and there's 10 of them.
Oh,
So right, so she always talks about this, right?
yeah.
And I always go over there, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a part of the family,
Yeah.
right? Because that's my family, right? So
Literally, yes. Every day's a party.
right, right.
Sometimes there's fights, but we get along afterward.
Oh man, trust me, I've been around them all, and it's like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So you come from this big family,
Yes.
and what do you think that taught you to be the person kind of who you become now? Because now you are this individual now, right? You have your own thing going on, you're independent. What did it teach you being a part of that big family?
It taught me to just accept everybody and who they are
Mm,
and where they're at in their journey. Don't try to change anybody. Don't try to like judge them or anything. Like, I've learned we all have different journeys, and I think that's the beautiful part of it. If we were all going through the same thing at the same time, everything, like, I think that would be so boring.
right,
So
right, right.
just seeing everybody's mindset and like accepting each other's differences and but getting along at the same time.
Hmm.
I think that taught me a lot. Just let everybody be.
So your family traditionally, what country are they from?
Mexico.
So you're Mexican, right?
Yes.
Now I know a lot about the Mexican culture and the traditional Mexican culture.
Yes.
I know your dad kind of is the one who kind of sets the right
Yes.
sets the standard.
Yeah, yeah.
How does he feel about your profession? Because it's
Yeah.
nothing traditional about
I know.
what you're doing. So I already know.
I was the black sheep in my family, 100%, 100%. When I started tattooing, everybody knew, even my own dad's mother and brothers,
Mhm.
but nobody told him until I had to tell him because it was getting hard to hide it from him, especially because I was actually, starting to go to the shop more and
Mhm.
everything. My excuses started running out, and my dad is a smart person.
Mhm.
He already knew something was up. He was just waiting for me to tell him. So when I told him, I had to be super like upfront with him and honest and show him like, I'm doing the bloodborne pathogen, which is part of tattooing, so he could see that I'm not just bullshitting and stuff.
Mhm.
Because my dad's a very respectful person. Like, a lot of people respect him because he's a hustler, he's a go getter, he's not a
Mhm.
bullshitter. He actually is very like, if it's something stupid, just tell me up front. If it's something real, tell me. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
when I told him that I am a tattoo artist already, and like this is what I want to do and be, he was actually very, very like open to it. He was
Oh.
like, you know what? Because he's an artist as well. And he told
Mhm.
me like, I love art. I'm all about being creative and everything. Because he would help us with projects in high school and middle school. And he told me that like as long as you're being happy and you're doing it for yourself and you do it right, you don't half-ass shit. Like, go for it.
No matter what you're doing, as long as you
Yeah, just do
at it.
it. He said, just be a chingona, pues.
Mhm.
Like,
I know what that means.
yeah.
Right,
So
right.
it's like you're gonna do it right and
Uh-huh.
do it good. Don't like, I'm gonna try it and see if I like it. Like, go all in. And I said, exactly. I'm telling you because I'm all in already. And he just told me, just don't get tattoos and stuff. But I was already down. I already got one. So
See, now that was my next question. Like, you don't look like the typical tattoo
yeah,
artist,
yeah, I
right?
get that a lot.
Most tattoo artists carry, I guess, I don't know if it's changed now, but right, they look like they got an attitude,
Yeah.
and then they
Yeah.
got tattoos all over the place. They don't look very friendly, right?
Yes,
And I feel
100%.
like I'm like, oh, I want the person with the worst attitude and the tattoos on their eyelids. That's the guy. That's the person I want to tattoo
Yeah.
me. And also being a female
Yes.
is a whole different
It's
situation. So
yes.
talk to me about you not looking like the typical tattoo artists? Like, what problems or issues or
Yes.
anything do you run into because of that?
Yeah, you know what? Because when I was becoming a tattoo artist, I was really young. Um, and being a female and with no tattoos, I would always get judged all the time. But I was so used to being judged all the time because in high school, I would always be like, I want to be a tattoo artist. So people would always doubt me or be like, oh, she's crazy, whatever, you know? So I let my work speak for myself. If someone had a doubt with me, I would just show them my profile and I'll be like, if
Mhm,
you want me to, cool. If not, don't worry about it. I'm gonna move to the next person.
mhm.
So once they started seeing my work, their eyes would get all big and they'll be like, oh, can you do this and this and this? And I was showing them in a way not to judge a book by its cover, but by not being aggressive about it, not taking things personal, because I understood people only know what they have knowledge about, you
Right,
know?
right. They don't even know what they know.
Exactly. So I'm like, I'm not gonna convince you that I'm a good tattoo artist or I'm a great artist. I'm gonna let you see my work, and if you like it, we'll continue. If not, we'll move different paths and ways. And honestly, the road of less resistant was the best way for me.
Hmm.
And people started like I started becoming a magnet because they would see I was painting, drawing, and that's how I started getting my people. And they would always ask me, "Where's your tattoos? Do you have tattoos?" And I'd be like, "I only have one that I did on myself." In a sense, I popped my own
That's
cherry.
what I want to know. I did. Everybody wants to know. It's like, does a barber cut their own hair, right?
Yeah,
Does a, so
yeah,
does a chef cook their own food? Like, we want to know. So
that's
you
so
did your
true.
own tattoo.
Yeah, I did my own tattoo.
Where is it? If you
It's
don't.
on my ankle. It's like
Okay.
super small but meaningful.
Okay. Okay. What is it of?
It's a anchor with a steering wheel, pretty much saying I'm the captain of my own boat. And
Okay.
when I say no, I put my anchor down. When I say let's go, I lift it up pretty much. And I like how like in back in the day they would use like the sun, the stars, the wind, the elements pretty much of
Hmm.
the earth to guide them. And that's what I do to myself. If it
Hmm.
flows, it flows. If it doesn't, I'm gonna use the energy and the stars to guide me.
I like that. This is a guy named Jim Rohn. I listen to, and he always says it's not the blowing of the wind that determines where you go; it's the set of the sail. So, that's a
You better
bar,
send me
right?
that. That was good.
That's
That
a
was a good
bar.
one.
He says that, and I love that. So I love how meaningful that is. I have a lot
Yeah.
of tattoos, and I think maybe at the time we met, I didn't have a lot of tattoos. So
Yeah.
I can say the tattoo industry has risen, right? At the
Yes.
time where you were first doing it,
Oh
what
yeah.
wasn't so much. Now
Mhm.
you used to be afraid of the guy with the face tattoos.
Yeah.
Now it's all right. It's all right. He might be your college professor. You don't know.
Yeah.
So how has the industry changed since you've been in it as far as tattooing?
So much like from tattooing from coils to hand drawing it on fucking
All right,
tracing
yeah, real. I don't know
paper.
what coils mean. If we don't know what that
Oh yeah,
is,
coil
uh-huh.
machines.
What's
It's
that?
a tattoo machine that pretty much is run on coils. Like it's
Okay.
more mechanic where you could take it apart. Now there's more rotaries where it's kind of like a machine already all put together that you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to tune pretty much. The
Because people are
coils
doing
used
this
to
in
tune.
jail. Oh,
Yeah,
it
you
blows
could
my
use
mind.
that was pretty much a coil machine you could say because it used electricity with these coil wraps of copper. We could go deep into that,
Right,
but
right,
like
right, right.
there's literally like different types of machines people would use in the old school versus now they use. It was much heavier, so
Okay.
much heavier. Now there's so much more lightweight weight and it looks more like a pen.
Have you ever done any traditional style tattoos? Like, I know there's a
Oh,
lot of people maybe from like Samoa or Polynesian people. They may want a traditional style tattoos. Can you do those styles or
yeah, actually, I'm actually a tattoo artist that does a little bit of everything.
okay?
I do have my style,
Hmm.
but definitely I tried every single style to see what I liked and what I didn't like.
So
So
use
there's
the old like knock the rock with the.
not the right,
I mean,
not
I don't
that
know
one. I
what it's.
haven't done
I don't
that
know what
one
it's called,
yet.
but
Like
yeah,
in a sense, it's stick and poke in a sense.
yeah, right, right. So you've done those. You've done that
I
before.
haven't done that one though.
Okay,
That one for sure, you really have to like the precision of like tapping that stick to puncture the ink just right.
incredible.
Yeah, I'm like they already have that movement done down to the T and stuff. That's a whole new technique.
Have you ever messed up somebody's tattoo?
Oh, 100%. 100%. And sometimes it's like some people give you the wrong wording or anything small stuff like that, you know?
Hmm.
But as a tattoo artist, you learn how to fix things, you learn how to improve things, and you honestly have to make those mistakes. You
So
have to make
tell
those.
me, tell me about one of those times where you totally just butchered somebody's.
Oh, okay. Let me remember. It's because it's really rare, especially nowadays. But
Right.
this was more when I was starting. When I was starting, I was actually a pretty great artist. But somebody, it was a little quotation mark. Sent me the phrase, and I forgot what it was, but it was a phrase, and she wanted it down her neck, on the side here, and then we checked the fonts and everything. I wrote everything exactly how she wanted it. She was looking at it and she's like, "Yes, that's exactly how I want it." And I always check the messages, especially when it comes to fonts and or writing and stuff. And I typed it exactly how she sent it to me, and I always made them double check. But I think it was just like a little quotation mark on an S or something. It was supposed to be in between instead of
Hmm.
together. And then she noticed it after we were done. She was a little embarrassed because she was like, "Oh my god, I sent it to you the wrong way." It's like something small.
So it was her fault, not yours.
Yeah, oh yeah. A lot
Okay.
of the
Okay.
times it's the writing
Hmm.
where people don't double check or they send us the wrong dates and then after they're like, "Shit, it was supposed to be this date and
Hmm.
stuff."
So you've never like misspelled on accident, like you actually misspelled it, or you actually
Oh,
did the
like it
wrong thing.
got it. Hmm. I don't know. I don't think so. Purposely no. Like if they send me something that they wanted that way, but then one time actually, I tattooed a Harry Potter person that he was a huge fan, and he sent me the word. I think it was the guy with I forgot his name, but it was a name of one of the characters that were bad but good at the end of the day.
Hmm.
And I was going live, and somebody was saying, "Hey, that's not how you spell it." And I was like, "Oh shit!" And I did a little bloodline first, which
Hmm.
is a light tone of black into the skin before I actually puncture it all the way.
Hmm.
And then I asked the guys like, "Hey, is this how you're supposed to spell it?" And he was like, "Yes, yes." He was like 100%. And I'm like, "Cause they're telling me it's supposed to on the live they would be like it's supposed to be this way." And then he double checked before I even continued on internet. He's like, "Holy shit, you're right. It's the way they were telling me on the
Right.
live."
Right.
So that helped me a lot because I was about to like,
But do it
do it
wrong.
wrong
Right.
and stuff. And like I was just so shook because I'm like, damn, he's a Harry Potter fan. But he was probably so excited
Right.
that he just
He
sent
just
it that
right.
way. And like he was like convinced it was that way. But that one was like a kind of shook moment where I'm like, shit, I could have like it could have gone the other way, you know?
Right. Right. Because I mean, I gotta ask. I'm transitioning from being just a artist that draws on pen and paper to
Yes.
actually having to put this in somebody's skin.
Mm,
How different is that? Like drawing on paper and then having an actual tattoo? Because
yes.
is it similar? Do the skills transfer over? Can you be one or the other? Or
Mm. You could transfer the skills, but it'll be a different texture. So it's
okay.
it's like driving a car. You know how to drive a car, but every car has a different like feel to
Mm-hmm.
it and movement. You have to kind of like settle in, but it's still the same steps.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you gotta tweak a little things. So it's very similar to that, especially because the skin does react,
Mm-hmm.
especially because everybody's skin is different. That's
Mm.
something you learn in the tattoo industry. Like nobody has the same skin. Some people are more oilier. Sometimes some are more drier. Some people take in the ink better than others.
Mm-hmm.
Like it always depends on that, on your underskin tone, on how much you go on the sun. So that changes a lot on the texture that you're putting the image. And not only that, it's not straight or
Mm.
flat.
Right. 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 It
Everybody
moves. Like the
curves.
skin moves and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it curves in different directions on everybody's body because
Right.
like we're not all in the same anatomy.
Right.
So
Right.
that taught me a lot about proportions on different people,
Mm-hmm.
and also what was the other one? It actually talks back.
What do you
That's not,
mean?
the skin talks back, as in like the person's like, "Oh, this hurts,"
Uh
or
huh.
you can't be there like designing the same way you're packing it in the same way because you have to be also thoughtful about the person you're tattooing.
Right. Right.
Versus the paper, you could go on there for hours. So everybody's pain tolerance is different.
Oh yeah, because I mean, like I said, I have a lot of tattoos, and every time I'm like, this shit hurts every time, right?
Yeah.
And some people have these super long, elaborate tattoos.
Yes.
What's the longest,
Oof,
uh, I guess, time you spent tattooing one person?
16 hours
Straight? Was it straight?
straight, one session. Never again though.
Really?
Yeah.
No. Why?
Never
Now, why?
again.
Why never again?
Because you get drained. You get
Uh,
drained, and also the client was like, never again too.
Yeah.
She was trying to force it, and I was trying to go with it too. And because I'm like, you know what, I've done 12, I could add a few more.
Right.
But then I realized the next days I needed a lot of rest. Like
Yeah.
the next 2 days, I was like so super kind of like exhausted mentally because you have to concentrate and make sure
Yeah.
every line, every stroke you
You
make
can't get
is
lazy.
exactly. And
Yeah.
it was just super high focus on those 16 hours.
No, I can imagine, right? If you're because people will think that you have to physically be doing something, but just focus, like you said, focusing for that
Yeah.
long is
Yeah.
very that's taxing on the brain
Exactly.
and on
It's
the
like
body.
holding a cup for 15 minutes or 2 minutes. It doesn't feel that much of water.
Uh-huh.
But then
Right.
when you hold it for 5 minutes without placing it
Huh.
down, and when you hold it for 30 minutes, you start aching, you need little breaks and stuff. So it's very similar to that. It's like a muscle, but different muscle.
So now, currently, right now, you work in a shop. You have your own shop. How do you
I
take
actually
clients?
have my own studio, my own private studio. I worked at shops as well, but I've learned like I like to just concentrate on my energy, on my presentation, everything like that, and customize it for my people in a sense where it's more private and stuff.
Right, because I can
Yeah,
right. I know some barbers who have their own space because you don't
yeah,
want that public space, right?
yeah.
What was why would you prefer having your own studio versus working in a shop?
Because every artist or every shop you go to, there's a lot of personalities,
Hmm.
and everybody has their own way of doing things and stuff. But honestly, for me, it was more about filming. It was getting too noisy. I didn't want to tell people to shut up or hey, can you lower it down? It kills their vibe.
Right,
So
right, right.
I was like, you know what? It's time for me to do my own thing. If it's not working, why make other people change when you could just do the change yourself?
So let's talk about that because you said I'm gonna take the leap of faith
Oh,
and
yeah.
right, I'm going to not work in a shop and open up my own studio. Were you afraid to do it when you
No,
did it?
no,
Okay.
it's 'cause it's so weird. Once you feel it and it aligns, nothing else matters. Like, it's so weird, and that's why, like, I feel like I listen to myself a lot, as in, like, does this feel right to me right now? Even if I made the mistake or anything, I learn from that and I sharpen it and I do it again because I still feel that same, like, way I have to do and stuff.
I mean, because now it's all on you, right?
Yeah,
There's no walk-ins anymore, right?
yeah.
Because
It's your responsibility. It's a different responsibility, and I totally understand why some people don't take that leap of faith because it's a whole different kind of pressure. It's a whole different responsibility that you have to obtain yourself.
your bills are higher, right? Rent is
Yep,
higher.
exactly.
So talk to me about that transition. When did you open up your own studio?
So I went to a more private studio like 5 years ago, but now I'm going even more private,
Hmm.
where it's like more personalized.
Oh, how do you go more private than the private studio?
It's like a how would I say this? I had a private studio with other artists, but they were different rooms. But now it's
Okay.
like me single now.
Okay. I
There's
see what you're saying.
nobody, no other artists at all.
Huh. And is that difficult to maintain or keep up?
No, actually, well, for me, because I already was doing it on my own in so many ways. I never needed somebody to tell me what to do or, oh, you should take classes or I was my own hype person,
Hmm.
my own cheerleader. I was like, all right, I did this. Let's challenge myself. Let me try this,
Right.
or let me sharpen my craft. Let me go get a get learn from a different artist.
Mm-hmm.
Like I kept moving, and people. I wasn't. Now I'm comfortable being uncomfortable.
Okay.
Once I get comfortable, I enjoy it. I soak it in, and I'm like, all right, it's time to move again. It's time to sharpen something or improve in another way, and also mentally and spiritually. Like you have to be on top of yourself because it shows in your art. It shows in your reputation. It shows in your tattoos and how you treat others.
Right. I mean, it definitely does, right? Because now you're responsible for not only what happens in this space, but
Yes.
you got to cover the bills. You got to buy
Oh
equipment.
yes,
Like,
yes, yes.
so where like when it come time to put up the money,
Okay.
what kind of experience was that? You was like, oh, okay, this may be a little bit more than I
it,
expected,
it
or
was a nice challenge because I'm like, I made the moves when I knew I was able to do it for a good year. Like I always had
mm,
backup of backup.
hmm
I didn't just make the move because I'm like, fuck everything or whatever. No, I made the move when I knew I had a solid foundation that I'm able to jump to the next step where it won't be stressful, where I enjoy it. and that's what made a big
So
difference.
like, did you have another job? You have another income, or was it?
In the beginning, yes, I was like what's it called, a counselor for Clear Creek. It was like a cool like mountain where I didn't for 3 days I didn't have my phone. Um,
Mm.
in the beginning, just to kind of have something on the for taxes and stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
But then I had to make a choice, and I had to become a full time tattoo artist. It forced me to become a full time tattoo
So
artist.
let's talk about that transition,
Okay,
because here
okay.
you go. You go from, you have a job and it's paying you, what you need to survive,
Yes,
and then you say, okay, I'm gonna leave my job, my comfortable
yes,
job, to go full time.
yes.
Like, how was
How
that transition?
So I honestly just got that job to like kind of like have something stable in a sense,
Hmm.
and use that money to invest in my products for tattooing, to buy better machines, better inks, everything. I was able to do it with just tattooing alone, but I just wanted something for like the government to see that I'm still working to do my taxes and stuff, because it was hard to tax the tattooing stuff, and I learned so much from that. Once I had to like jump full time tattooing, but I was forced to be full time tattoo artist because I couldn't keep up with my clients and just tattooing um 4 times out of the week. Like
So
I needed to be there all the time
s-
because of how many people wanted tattoos.
that's the perfect problem to have.
Yeah, that's the perfect it was a huge problem because I'm like shit all these messages, but I'm like I can't keep up with my normal job. Like I have to make this transition.
Hmm.
I didn't see the benefits of keeping it anymore.
Hmm.
Like it was helping me to get enough to spoil myself in tattooing equipment and trying things out, like, oh, I like this ink, let me try it, or this person made a new machine, let me buy that. Like I was spoiling myself in that way and investing in myself, in my paints and everything, in my art. So that was more of that. Like the tattoos were paying my bills and everything, and that one was like
That
letting
was
me be
buying the
creative.
stuff, right? Uh-huh.
Exactly. And then I couldn't keep up with that job anymore. It was a time waster being up there. I
Mm.
was like, I'm putting this energy in somewhere where I'm not gonna grow.
Wow.
So might as well
Incredible.
put it in myself again and just focus on tattooing. And
So
that's
what changed when you went full time tattoo artist? Was you still spoiling yourself with all that stuff, or that kind
yeah,
of,
I was
or
able
did
to
you?
spoil my family now and
Oh
stuff.
wow, wow,
I was helping my parents a lot more. I was
wow,
always helping my parents, but I was able to help them a lot more. I was able to make my foundation much more solid and still be free. And that
wow,
was my goal. I always wanted to be free, not worry about pricings, not worry about, oh, that's too much, not worried about when I go out, like I can't enjoy myself. When I would go out and I would spoil myself pretty
wow.
much.
Man,
And
I'm
the
so
friends I
proud of
had
you,
around me.
man. I'm so
Thank
dang
you.
proud of you for real. Because one, I'm an entrepreneur as well, and it's so difficult to get to that point. It's so scary, right, to
Yes.
make that transition, because you don't know how much money you're gonna make this month. You
Yeah,
don't know what's gonna happen.
that's so true.
And now you get to a point where you figured out how you can do it, but it gets to the point where, like you said, you get to help your parents out,
Yeah.
you get to spoil yourself and your friends and live comfortably.
Yes.
Does that Did you think that that was going to happen, or was that the goal, or was you just like, I'm just going to give it a shot, I don't know what's going to happen, or did you expect to be as comfortable as you are now?
I I had no expectations, but I knew it. Once I made that move, I always put my full into it. Where it's like I don't see that it's not gonna happen, or if it's gonna happen, I'm like, how is it gonna happen? How am I gonna make it? What am I gonna do to get to there now? So if anything, I already saw that I was gonna maintain it and have it, but how can I keep growing to maintain it and surpass that?
That's incredible. So on a day to day, or let me say week to week, how many clients do you normally see?
Well, right now I did have to open my days more because I was just working 3 to 4 times a week.
Hmm.
But right now, like since I've been investing in my videos and everything, um, I started blowing up. But I
Hmm.
will say the first time I blew up, I wasn't able to carry it because I
Mm.
had to work on myself a lot more.
And when you say blowing up, you're talking about social media, or you talking
Yes,
about, right? Yeah.
social media and messages. It was like over 100 messages every day.
Wow.
And I had somebody, which is my sister, who was helping me and still is helping me to this day. And like, it was overwhelming. I wasn't able to capture it and hold on to it. I had to take a few steps back.
You wasn't ready for the success.
Exactly,
Mm.
like that type of success, because it was like so many different types of personalities, everything that I had to relax. And I said, if I did it once, I could do it again. But now I found my pace. Now I'm putting the effort and I'm starting to blow up again, but in a pace where I'm able to maintain it. Where it's, when you try to bite something too big, you can't
Mm-hmm.
even swallow it or enjoy
Right.
it.
Yeah, spit it out.
Yeah, you got to spit it out. So now that you take proportions and you have a pace, you could start making the snowball effect where it
Mm.
starts growing and growing, but you grow in a pace where you enjoy it. It's not stressful. You could actually maintain it. You could actually hold on to it and let it grow.
Another great problem to have, right? I have
Another
two.
great round.
I got too
Yeah.
many. I got too many clients. The
Yes.
success is overwhelming.
Yes.
Jim Rohn again. He said success works like this: unless you grow out to where it's at, it's going to minimize to where you are.
Exactly.
So it was too much, and then you had to bring it down.
Yes.
What was that like dealing with that, like mentally and psychologically? Because you like,
Oh yeah.
how do I?
Yes.
I tell people, what weighs more, a ton of feathers or a ton of gold? And the answer is they both weigh a ton.
Yeah. Yeah.
you
After a
know,
while piling
yeah,
in shit, like it gets heavy,
right.
It was a lot of self-reflection. It was a lot of like, how can I improve this? You're not gonna be able to please everybody. Are you happy? Like, I had to reflect myself. I had to
Mm,
work on myself. And in order for you to maintain that, you have to be ready. Your vessel, your body, your mindset, everything. And that's what I realized. I'm like, okay, I didn't take it as a loss or anything. I took it as like I'm gonna change myself again. I'm gonna what is it called? Transform myself into a new Thalia,
So, well, like, what did you do to transform yourself to this success that you like? Now you realize, okay, I have to be bigger
Yes.
in order to maintain this,
I put
or you can self sabotage yourself. Which it sounds like you did a little bit, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Uh huh.
Before I was putting work first, I was putting
Mm-hmm.
family first, I was putting other things first, and what changed everything was putting myself first.
Mm.
And that is something I will always tell people: put yourself
Boundaries, huh?
first, 100%. The hardest one to put, for me to jump over was my dog. I would put
Mm.
my dog first too before me, and now, in order for everything to grow, I have to put myself first, and
Yeah.
that was the difference between when I first blew up versus now me blowing up.
Mm-hmm.
Now I put myself first. In order for me to maintain everything, and I realized that is I was not putting myself first before, but now I'm able to capture it, hold it, and let it grow now. And I'm still like not stressed. I'm enjoying everything, the process, the growth. And that's what I realized is like putting yourself first is what's gonna make everything grow.
Yeah, because we kind of transition into a little bit more personal, right? Because now this is where we're getting, because
Yes.
the people see the tattooing, but they
Yeah.
don't
Let's
see
see.
that part,
Yeah.
right?
They don't see the how can I keep this up, this lifestyle up.
Right. I've noticed that you've lost quite a bit of weight over
Yes.
time,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
So, which means that you were on a journey.
Yes.
I don't know if I caught the in between, but was this prior to your success with tattooing, or what was the chronological order? Did you lose the weight first, or when it all together? Like, kind of
Right.
what happened?
So I am gonna put something out super personal, but 4 years ago I did have a boyfriend and like he did pass away.
Oh wow.
And that's why I love my dog so much because we got her together. And that definitely made me like be depressed in a
For
way where
sure.
I didn't realize I was depressed. Because sometimes you can't put depression on a face
Mm-hmm.
or on how it should look and stuff. So that's why I say check on your friends and stuff, or just in general, the be nice to people. You
Mm-hmm.
never know what people are going through. Um, but yes, I was 100% lost. I will say tattooing helped me so much when I went back into it, but I did bury myself in work.
Mm.
And I am grateful for the people who like me, like just in general, like so much love and like gave me the chance to tattoo them while I was still going through that,
Mm-hmm.
because you could 100% tell, like me seeing pictures before,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, damn, man, like I was really depressed. You could see it in people's eyes and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Um, but I'm so grateful for the people who were part of my journey during that time because that showed me a lot of who I am and like at that moment, and have so much respect for myself. I learned to be kinder to myself
Mm.
because I was like kind of like just get over it, kind of
Right.
burying
Move
myself,
on.
move
Right.
on. Like
Mm-hmm.
how do I heal, like kind of stuff. But I was just running. I didn't stop. And that's what I realized, where it's like, holy shit, like I haven't healed. And it took me almost 3 years
Yeah.
to really finally realize that I needed to heal,
Mm.
because I was running for that long. But after that, that's when I started putting myself first, because I'm like, I'm not gonna put work first. I've been putting work so much, and I was so grateful because at my lowest point, that's when I started blowing up on social media and stuff, because I was just trying to have
What's
fun,
so,
entertain
and
myself.
that's a weird
Yeah,
experience, right? Because here
yeah,
you are at your lowest, but people are putting you here.
yeah, exactly.
That actually causes more
For-
stress. I know
exactly.
exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you
Yeah.
mean.
And that's how I wasn't able to obtain it at that moment.
Hmm.
I was grateful, but I was like,
I'm going through
I
something.
was exactly. I was trying to still collect myself. I was
Mm.
still trying to like
Wow.
piece myself together and stuff, until like I would say a good year and a half or 2 years. Actually, I started putting myself first. And in that little moment that I started putting myself first, I'm
Mm.
seeing so much change that I'm like, I'm excited for the next 2, 3 years, even 5 years to 10 years, because I know like putting myself first is the solution for everything.
So how did the weight loss itself,
Yeah,
how did that happen? Was that because of depression, or because
yeah,
some people lose weight when they're depressed, right? They're not eating as
yeah.
much, or was it like you was like,
I gained weight because I was depressed. I
okay,
was like, and it's so funny because I was not that like I was eating a lot. I was eating like super late, or
that
not
lady
eating
that
some.
that
Yeah,
lady get you every time?
and it's because I was putting work first.
Hmm.
I was overworking myself Monday through Sunday, every day, like literally had no time for myself.
Going to get them tacos that night. You know what I mean? I'm already
Exactly,
knowing.
exactly. And I didn't care what I was putting in myself, because
Hmm.
I was just trying to go through the next day. We
Hmm.
go through the next day. It's like,
Right.
oh, I have another tattoo. I got to design. I was just in my whole like designing, tattooing,
Right.
and it was tough. And then I realized I needed help, and that's when I asked one of my sisters, who is still working with me and has helped me so much, to work with me, and she started taking weight off of me, and I started investing in myself, because I realized I could not do this on my own anymore.
Man. Asking for help is a hard thing to do
Uh-huh.
when you
You
are
think you could do it all on your own? You're like,
right.
no, you can't. It's okay.
When you're a leader and when you're motivated and
Mhm.
you're an inspired person and you're the person that people look up to,
Yeah.
you're the big sister, for everybody.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
you're the entrepreneur. All right, you have the success story, you had the good grades, you had all these things that made you be the one that people counted on,
Yes.
and that's the person who probably needs the most help,
Yeah.
and you ask for the least amount,
Exactly.
right? Because you don't want to burden nobody. But somebody asks you for help, you
You're,
jump, you're
I'm
there.
there. I'm number one. I became the person that will be able to help anybody, and I was like, who's gonna help me?
Yeah.
And that's when it started soaking in, because my boyfriend was the one that was always helping me. We were
Hmm.
always by each other, and like people to this day, if they met him, they knew it was both of us. And we were so connected, and that's why like I was so lost, because I'm like, oh, where do I lead now?
Right.
You know? But I
Hmm.
did have my dog who fucking helped me out.
Yeah.
She taught me so many things that no other human will ever teach me,
Right.
or is able to teach, pretty
Wow.
much.
How old are you now, Talia?
I'm 29.
You're
I'm
29.
29.
I'm getting
I
old,
know,
dog.
it's so crazy.
Right.
But I love aging. I
Yeah.
do. I
Yeah.
really do. I think it's a beautiful transition that everybody needs to go through, and you need to start not fearing age, instead of like embracing it, because it shows you to remember to live in the moment.
Old is the goal.
Yeah.
I don't know what people thinking,
I know,
but that's the
people freak
goal,
out, and
right?
I'm like, enjoy where you're at.
Old is
Like,
you want to get old. That's the whole
you get
point.
wiser, you get better at things, everything starts improving. But
Man, I thought you was like 24 in my mind because
yeah, because
right.
you, I know what you mean. Because I always see people when I met them young, I'm like, you're stuck in that timeline.
Yeah, exactly. I have no idea, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. But just an incredible place of where you got now, and I have seen you blow up on social media, and that's what kind of got my attention as well. I'm like, I was able to follow your journey for the past. I think I started maybe
yeah.
following you maybe a year ago, but I got
Damn,
to see,
the transitions and stuff.
and I remember like, hey, that's she used to
Yeah,
draw, right? You
yeah.
were a very memorable student for me at the time.
Thank you.
When I was working at Canoga Park High School, right? That's where
Yeah,
we met. And you always stood out because I just
drawing 24/7.
drawing, but also once again, outside of drawing, you were the person you were. You were a good
Mhm.
person. You're always trying to be helpful. You always showed
Yeah.
up, you know,
Oh yes.
and everybody loved you, right? Everybody loved you.
Yeah.
Everybody loved you. So I think that transitions well into who you are now, right? I still
Yeah.
see those same personality traits in you today.
Yes.
So a little bit more about your personal life.
Mhm.
When you're not tattooing and you're not on social media and
Yeah.
people are not seeing the superstar you are now, what do you do in your free time?
So I actually like to do random stuff. I am a gym rat now, so
Right on.
I have to go 5 times a week.
Oh wow.
Now I'm trying to go 6 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I also am learning horseback riding.
Okay.
So I like to have different activities. I love cuddling with my dog
Mm-hmm.
and getting her a lot of treats, different treats. Literally walking her, cuddling and sleeping with her. That's a hobby for me. I gotta take my naps, especially with her. But I also like makeup and like dressing up. I have so many dresses, and now I'm like, where do I want to go with all this? So I
Right.
like all of that. I like self-care stuff, vitamins, skin routines, everything. Like I I did
You
buy
just a girl.
rollerblades.
That's what it
Yeah,
sounds
I'm
like.
just a girl. I really
Nice.
am. But I do love going to hikes, especially with my dog, and sunsets. Beach sunsets are the best for me and her,
Yeah.
just to kind of like embrace everything and kind of enjoy the journey that I had. In a sense,
Reminisce. I got you.
reminisce.
Yeah.
And I love reminiscing with her so
Mm-hmm.
much because you know what? And I even go I cruise with my dog a lot,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it's hot and like I didn't take her out walking because it's been hot and I don't want her to get all heat. So at night I drive her with the windows down. We cruise anyway.
I love
We
night
get
driving. I
lost.
love night driving.
Yeah,
It's less traffic.
exactly.
I
You
like the
could go to
lights.
one place to the other so
Mm-hmm.
quick.
Yeah.
And I do that a lot with her. And that's when I reminisce. I put my music. I love music. I love dancing and I love trying out different places to eat.
Right. Don't we
That's
all?
that's like a different I have a lot of random hobbies actually. Now that I'm like, what don't I do?
Right.
But
Right.
now I'm like kind of telling myself what yeah. I
Um.
I like to do a lot of random stuff. I am good at the shooting range.
Okay. Just so y'all know, you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
I will take you to
Don't pull
the
up on me
kids
like
one, the
that. You know
kids
I'm accurate.
version. Yeah. Yeah, my little nephew was like kind of shocked because I don't play Call of Duty, but if you give me the gun
The
and
real
like
thing, right? I got you. I
I
got
will
you
shoot.
covered. Oh, that's cool, right? Now you
So
got a
don't fuck
little.
with me.
Right. Right. She letting you know, right?
Yes.
Um. More personal question, and feel free to answer this if you're comfortable enough. How have you tried dating
Oh.
since you know the passing of your ex, and is that difficult, or is like
Mm.
how is that process?
You know, I actually like that you did say that because I want to show people and help people like surpass that like grievedness
Mm-hmm.
or and embrace be what is it called, grief? Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
the stages of grief and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And that there is a light under like in that darkness, you know, that you're
Yeah.
in and stuff. Because I will say the first 3 years after that happened, I didn't even look at people.
Yeah.
I wasn't even like thinking of
Mm-hmm.
that because of how deep I was in my thoughts and like I couldn't believe it that he was
Right.
gone. Everything, especially having my dog, like it would always remind me of him. And I would say like when I started putting myself first, I went to Bali and that was definitely an amazing trip. And somebody courted me so beautifully there. Like showed me how to be treated as a woman and a lady and stuff. Like bought me drinks, told me where I wanted to go, but still leading me. Bought me little cute stuff, you know, and it was like natural. It wasn't even I wasn't even looking for it or
Mm-hmm.
anything. And it was around ironically the trip it landed on his month of birthday. And like I felt like he gave it to me as a present in a weird way. Because everything aligns. I believe in like synchronicity. What is it? Synchronicity? Oh my god.
Sequences?
Oh
I
no,
don't know.
synchronicity?
Oh, synchronization. That's right. Yeah,
Synchronization,
I get. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm with you.
And I believe everything aligns the way it's supposed to be. Like there's no coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
Like you attract what you're ready for,
Mm.
in a sense. So after that, which was last year, barely last year, I started like kind of like, holy shit, like feeling things.
Mm-hmm.
Like I started looking at guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't dated, but I'm just like, enjoying my views now.
Right,
you
right. I
know,
got you. I got
because
you.
I still want to put myself first. Like I
Yeah.
really, really want to like get my body, feel good, look good, like because that makes such a big difference
Mm-hmm.
when you put all that effort in yourself. Like if you can't love yourself, how can you let others love you? And I realized that. And I didn't want to put anybody like that weight. And I
Mm.
realized that really early on when people were like, trying to get into my bubble and stuff, I would just close it off because I'm like, it's not fair because you want to like help me in this. I'm not going to be there for you. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to hurt another human being.
And right now, I'm selfish right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm self
understand.
because before like I met people who, went through stuff and they did go through a mate after and stuff
Mm-hmm.
and they gave them the weight and stuff. I just
Mm-hmm.
personally couldn't do that because I'm like I'm going to be looking for him in you.
Mm.
Why am I going to do that when you're never
That's
going to
not
be
fair.
him and it's not fair for the person
Yeah.
that like it's like you're all in but I'm not.
Mm.
Like I couldn't do that to
Yeah.
another human being like into a mate. So I'm like I can't. Like
Wow.
I'm just going to be there while you're
Wow.
doing all I couldn't do it. And
Wow.
I realized that and it was a self-reflection where it's like I don't want to be with somebody because I feel lonely or
Mm.
because like I what's it called can't be with somebody or whatever ABCD or
Mm-hmm.
like I couldn't put that weight on another person. I'm like it's not fair. You're just going to end up being her
Right.
because I'm always going to compare you to him.
Right.
And
Right.
that's what I was doing to people. Like if people
Mm.
would try to come in, you're like, oh, you don't smell like him, you don't look like him,
Mm-hmm.
you don't talk like him. And I realized that I was like, I can't even do this because I'm just looking for him.
Wow.
Yeah. And I chose just to keep focusing on myself.
That's major. One, that you recognize that, and then two, that you're saying, okay, it's not even about you. There's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's me that I have to figure out, and I have
Yeah.
to understand how to be open to a new person.
Yeah.
Even so, I think that that's important because I think anybody who loses someone for whatever the reason is,
Yeah.
they start, comparing the next person,
Yeah. It's
which
like a
isn't fair.
breakup too, like
Yep.
I would say like people jump to the next relationship dumping everything or
Mm-hmm.
thinking they're gonna be like that or whatever
Mm-hmm.
trauma they build with the other person.
Right.
It's not fair for
Good or
the new
bad. Right.
person.
Yeah. The good
Exactly.
stuff or the bad stuff. Right. They
Yeah.
carry it over. You're right.
And you'd have to learn how to heal that part of yourself if for you to be open to a good relationship.
Mm.
And that comes with friends, family, and everything.
Yeah.
You really do have to heal yourself before anything
Yeah. No,
because
yeah, I
you're just
agree with that.
gonna pass that that toxicity over,
For sure.
and you're still not gonna be happy.
Nope. Nope.
And
And then now you're gonna be the problem. That
exactly,
person's not the problem. It's you.
exactly. And I knew I was the problem,
Mm-hmm.
100%. And
Yeah.
I called myself out and everything on it in a nice way,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like you're not gonna be happy with this person. You're gonna make it unhappy for this
Nah,
person.
you're gonna find something wrong.
Yeah, I'm gonna find something wrong,
Right.
and it's just gonna trigger me and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just
Wow.
couldn't do it.
Wow.
Now though, I'm actually looking at people. I'm
Right.
still like
It's a
I'm like a
process.
cat kind of right now because I'm like, let me look at you, let me enjoy you. If it happens, it happens, but don't come too close because
Right.
I'm still in
Uh-huh.
this like self-healing journey
Yeah.
that
You don't want
I
nobody to destroy that either.
yeah, exactly. And like I feel like a relationship takes time. Whereas like you gotta put the effort. People just think, oh, I got a relationship, that's it. You get comfortable and then you lose it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's like if I'm gonna be in a relationship, I'm gonna need time to actually invest into the relationship and put effort into it. And right now I don't because I'm putting all that effort onto myself. And
Yeah.
I understand that now. I am open where it's like, oh, if somebody wants to court me or take me out, I want to see the kind of person you are. And I'll be super honest. Like I'll be like, it's not gonna work out, or if our schedule aligns, cool. If it doesn't, let's not force it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm doing now. Like I don't like to force things anymore. I
Yeah.
like to go with the flow.
And especially right now, you got a lot going on. So you don't have
Exactly.
to find yourself in other people. And
Exactly.
sometimes that happens, right? You may not have much going on. You can find,
Mhm.
happiness in somebody else, and then you rely on
Yeah.
that person for your happiness
Exactly. I feel like
versus
I feel like you totally understand. Like
hmm yeah. I mean, been there, been there many times. Yeah.
yeah, and being like single, like I don't know why people fear it so much. It's like a whole new relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
Because you get to understand yourself, what you like, what you don't like,
Hmm.
versus being not manipulated, but like, when you're around with other people, they kind of have an effect of how you think and what you like and stuff, versus being super more honest with yourself and aligning to the person that really will like you
Right.
for you versus what you try to shape yourself into.
And then to me, there's a philosophy around this. I feel like the best people to be in a relationship sometime, to be start a new relationship with, is somebody who had a bad old relationship, because they
Mhm.
able to now reflect on that,
Yeah.
see what they did, to make the relationship not work, or even now, because I'm sure there's a different appreciation you're going to have for your next relationship, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you won't take things for granted as you did before. Maybe
Yeah.
you're going to go into and understand that, hey, this could end. I need to actually be grateful for these moments now.
Yeah.
And it may not end with us breaking up. It may end some other kind of way. You
Yeah.
have that perspective. Some people don't have that because they've never lost
Yeah.
nobody. So they,
Yep.
oh, they'll be here tomorrow. They'll be here tomorrow and the next day,
Yeah, they
and they
get
take it for granted.
comfortable, and I think that's what people need to learn is like don't get comfortable. Like, once you have that person next to you, I feel like once I went through death, like I'm not afraid of death anymore. I
Yeah.
embrace it because you're like, we're all gonna go through it. This is gonna make me live more now,
Yep.
like every day, every moment now,
Oh,
and
I
like
love that.
it's such a beautiful way of living now, where
Yeah.
it's like you don't fear things anymore. You're just like, this is me. This is who I am. This is who I'm becoming.
I'm going to die regardless. And
Yeah.
I've done the math. I'm 34 now. If I live until I'm 80, I got about 15,000 days left. And I don't, right?
Yeah, you did.
I know, right? It ain't that much, right? You break it down, you're like, damn, that's not that much, right?
Yeah.
And that's still 80. And I might not even have that many days left. So it's not a whole lot. So for some people, life is short. For others, it's very short. That's the only two options.
Yeah.
So
Make the best
once
of
again,
it.
Jim Rohn again. I got that from Jim Rohn. That's my guy.
Man.
Yeah, I'm about to
Now
send
I
it to
gotta
you.
look him
Yeah, that's
up.
my guy right there, man. But last question I want to ask you, because I love to ask this, from your life experience, all that you've been through, obviously losing a loved one, way too early, struggles as an entrepreneur, struggles as a woman entrepreneur in a space that's predominantly men, even so, what's some life advice you would give to people listening?
I always love saying this is believe in yourself. Believe in yourself and put yourself first. Your whatever you want from others, give it to yourself first. If you're seeking happiness from others, give it to yourself first. If you're seeking love from others, give it to yourself first. If you want attention from others, give it to yourself first. If you want success for others, give it to your fucking damn self first. And you'll notice what you can really create and attract into your life. But heal yourself is one of the main key things. Don't pass it over to others.
Yeah. Well, beautifully said. I think I learned that lesson for the first time last year about putting myself first.
Yeah,
So
nobody
glad you
teaches
said
you
it.
this stuff.
No, hell no, right?
You just have to go through it. But if you can help another person, like advice of like, put yourself first, it's so important.
Well, I guess they say, even on a plane, say if the plane is going down, put your mask on first
Exactly.
and then help somebody else, right?
That is like the perfect metaphor.
It is, right? You got to put yours on first.
Yeah.
Or you can't help nobody else.
100%.
I want to thank you for coming.
Likewise.
And thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your
Yeah, you
story.
did make me get all vulnerable.
Hey, I told you it was going to be right.
I love this. I love this.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure catching up, and thank you for like I said, just sharing your story, because I think that the more stories I'm able to capture and share with people, the more people we can help. There's somebody out there who's going to haven't experienced it, or maybe already experienced it. What you've experienced it, what you've experienced. People may see your success on social media and have no idea what you've gone through, and I'm glad that you shared it with me. Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, now you know. You have just been introduced or reintroduced to Miss Thalia Sanchez. Thank you so much.
I love this.